here. Well, do come on in if you're at the back. We've got some good seats down here. We've got a fantastic session about to begin now on life and science and life sciences and MedTech in particular. Because if you thought that the innovation only happens on the coasts, you would be bang wrong. In fact, right here in the Heartland, we are seeing just this extraordinary fusion of technology, of community, and of capital coming together. One of our guests I'll introduce now leads the Indiana office of one of the most impressive connectors I've ever seen, the Plug and Play Tech Center. So you get to meet the person leading their work here in Indiana. Alongside them, someone who's helping to transform a regional health system into a national innovation player. Their role is as Head of Innovation and Strategic Enterprises at Parkview Health. So on the one hand, Plug and Play, the super connector, plugging the startup into the corporate, into the investor. On the other hand, we have Parkview Health. So let's welcome them both to the stage. Brandon Knoll and Ethel Massing. Brandon, great job. Good to see you. Wonderful. Thank you, Ethel. Welcome up. Yes.
Look at this.
Yeah.
We've made it, Ethel. This is making it.
We're on the main stage.
Main stage at the GEC. Brandon Knoll, Plug and Play, Indiana, born and raised Hoosier. Go Pacers. We have some Pacers fans out there. Go Pacers.
Also, Ethel Massing, again from Parkview Health. I am also a born and bred Hoosier, so go Fever. They won last night. Who went to the game?
Cover all the sports spaces.
Yeah, we're so happy to be here, especially being one of the warm-up acts for Mark Cuban. So welcome to him later. You can tell him how great his opening acts were. Brandon, you know, we are so excited to have Plug and Play here in Indiana. Can you tell us a little bit about the work you're doing?
Yeah, so one, I do think we need to give a round of applause to the Indiana Economic Development Corporation putting on this event.
Absolutely.
Incredible. This was not an easy undertaking.
Thank you to David and team, especially Linda.
Yes, and so what we're doing in Indiana, so roughly 2 years ago, I met Plug and Play at a conference, and I said, you need to be in Indiana. And they said, why? Like, we're looking Austin, Texas, New Jersey, like, what's in Indiana? And I said, well, let me pitch and present and tell you about Indiana, and then you can tell me no, but at least let me try. And that led to me getting to try, and then getting on a plane and going to Silicon Valley and talking to Saeed Hamidi, the CEO of Plug and Play, which then led to Saeed getting on a plane and coming to Indiana and spending time in Warsaw, Indiana, a home of 16,000 people, the orthopedics capital of the world. And that led to like, hey, we're gonna launch this new location in Warsaw centered around MedTech. And then Saeed called me and said, we want you to be the director of it. I said, okay, I want to run the state of Indiana. That led to us having conversations down here in Indianapolis. And now in September, we'll be launching our second location centered around life sciences with the IU Lab initiative, which is really exciting. So that will come in September. So for my purview and what I'm doing, along with Eileen Alberding and Carl Linsjoa, is we are launching a MedTech accelerator. I've launched one that's 1 year up and running, and then we'll be launching a life sciences program here in Indianapolis. Making the investment in Indiana.
Great.
And so Ethel, what is Parkview doing? What are the initiatives you guys are taking on as a more regional hospital that's trying to play in the global market?
Yeah, so those of you who don't know about Parkview is a large regional healthcare system in Northeast Indiana. We are a 14 hospital system serving about a 22 county region that's about 1.3 million people. We have over 200 outpatient centers where we care for patients. And our team, our innovation and research team, sit at the Miro Center for Research and Innovation. The Miro Center's been around since 2015. We just celebrated our 10th anniversary, but Parkview Research has really been in existence since 1993. We've done over 1,000 clinical trials and some things that you would definitely know about: implantable cardiac defibrillators, leadless pacemakers, Keytruda, Ellipta, so things that you would really recognize. And it was always Dr. Miro's vision at this center to put research, innovation, simulation all together with the patient at the center so that we could bring transformative technologies directly to our patients to change lives. and that's how he started. And so now we've been able to really fulfill this mission. I would say, from the global perspective of what we're doing now for the past 5 years, we are making global connections to entrepreneurs all over the world, bringing them in, giving them access to our clinical teams, giving them access to research, frontline people that they just wouldn't have the connections to, and we're able to deliver these technologies to our patients.
So I'm going to tap into that a little bit. So you guys have this great partnership with Ireland, correct?
Yes.
Why would the country of Ireland partner with a hospital in Fort Wayne, Indiana?
Crazy, I know. Because we have an amazing real Irish pub, if you've never been there. But it truly did come from Ireland. There's a long story behind that. But honestly, we host a global innovation competition almost every year, and we look for solutions to real problems. So we dig into the data, thanks to the Centers for Medicaid, Medicare, MPH, our partners at the State Department. They give us access to de-identified medical data. We push it out, and we find a topic that patients in Indiana have problems with. Because we really want to solve problems at home, but we want to source those globally. So we are hosting our 5th global competition, and in our 2nd competition, we had an amazing company from Enterprise Ireland who's trying to help solve for maternal mortality, and they went through our accelerator, and they had such phenomenal access to our whole ecosystem. They went back and told the Irish government, you need to send more people to Parkview and to Indiana. Like, you don't know what they have going on there. And so we ended up being able to go over to Ireland to talk to Enterprise Ireland, which is an innovation arm of their government. And this March, they brought over 15 companies. We just announced the very first company that we've gotten to move to Indiana from Ireland. So they will be placing their first headquarters in Fort Wayne on our campus. And so we're really excited about that. We're excited about the global reach that we have. Can you talk about some of the global impact of Plug and Play?
Yeah, so Plug and Play is 63 locations, 27 countries. We run accelerators in 25 industry verticals. For us, again, we have an office in Warsaw, Indiana, partnered very closely with Zimmer Biomet, Paragon Medical, and others, working closely with the state of Indiana. And then the Indianapolis location will be working with the CICP and BioCrossroads. So Vince Wong and his team, incredible group here in central Indiana that are actually making a footprint across the state. We're working with Indiana University, IU Health. And I think what we're doing is, how do we localize this global brand of Plug and Play to the state of Indiana? I was lucky enough to go on a trip about a year ago with the Indy Partnership to Boston. And we were learning about the life science ecosystem in Boston, how long it took for them to become kind of a mecca in life sciences. And I was sitting with Vince, I can see Vince in the crowd, and we were talking about, like, how do we do this in Indy? We have all of the elements to compete with Boston. And I think for us as Plug and Play, getting to go look at Boston, look what is happening in other parts of the world that Plug and Play is participating in, it's like, well, let's do it in Indiana, let's do it in Indianapolis, and let's do it with everybody. I think that's what's been inspiring by the IEDC and David Watkins and Ryan Locke in particular, is their team just wants to work and collaborate with everybody. And it's this mission over myself. And I think when we were working on the IU Lab initiative, that's what it was. All the people at the table were like, how do we do this to the benefit of the state, not to the benefit of each individual program? And you see that with Saeed Amidi and Plug and Play. They really want to help the entrepreneur. We work with 600 of the largest corporations around the world. We have 95,000 startups in our ecosystem. It's still, at the end of the day, about the entrepreneur. And that's who we focus on. I think if you do it that way, then it's going to be far more impactful, both from a startup perspective, from a corporate engagement perspective, but also layering in this economic development piece. Because, if you fly over the state of Indiana anymore, it's at your own peril. This place is top ranked for starting a business. Survival rates are among some of the highest in the nation. You have opportunities to meet people like Dave Ricks, who runs Eli Lilly, or Yvonne Turnos, who runs Zimmer Biomet. You have an opportunity to talk with your ultimate customer here in the state of Indiana. And I think that's why for us as Plug and Play, we're kind of doubling down, and don't be surprised if there's a third location in the state of Indiana, or even a fourth, because there is great opportunity in the state of Indiana to compete with Boston, to compete with San Diego, and really make us kind of the center point of the Midwest as it pertains to MedTech and life sciences.
Well, I would say not just compete, but also beat. I believe we took over as a life sciences exporter #1, finally in the last BioCrossroads report, so that's really exciting.
I mean, again, you have Eli Lilly in your backyard. Cook Group is incredible. Indiana University, Purdue University, Notre Dame, very strong R1 institutions.
4 R1 universities.
4 R1 institutions. So, and then you have Zimmer Biomet, and the story of Warsaw is incredible, how that family tree does not have a ton of branches, but it's like one entrepreneur starts a business and all of a sudden all of these other companies spin out of it. I mean, at one time in a town of 16,000 people, there was Zimmer, Biomet, and DePuy. And they were 3 of the largest orthopedic companies in the world, all headquartered in Warsaw, Indiana, which, not sure if she's here, and if she is, I apologize for making fun of you, but she looked at me like I flew in from Warsaw, Poland, not Warsaw, Indiana. And I'm like, this isn't the first time we talk about Warsaw. And so I think that's really cool and important what we're doing in the state. So now go back to Parkview. So how are you guys sourcing these startups? What are you doing to help them as they come into the Miro Center? And how are you still going, like Dr. Miro's vision of what you were going to do? How are you guys kind of either hitting that or evolving it?
Yeah. Well, the amazing thing is, now that we're going, we don't go out and source startups. It started with, we lovingly called them Miro Specials. Many people in this room, if not everyone, knows who Dr. Miro is. And he would bring in companies and we'd meet with them. He's like, oh, you should do this with, and that's how that started. It was just Dr. Miro's network, and he's like, talk to this entrepreneur. But really, people have heard about what we're doing. Stephen Collins from Matter has called us the most innovative healthcare system you've never heard of, which is fun. But they've heard about us now, and they know what we're doing, so they come to us because of what we're able to give them. If you ask Mark from Neurobell, we have an amazing story about Dr. Mark O'Sullivan from Neurobell. He has a device that is detecting seizures in newborns and infants, and we're working with him on a clinical study, and that's really going to change the face of infant care and seizure detection in babies that we're not able to do now. And so, one of the things he'll say is like, I came to Parkview and, I needed to test, I wanted to test to see if we could use this device in transport in an ambulance. And he's like, and the next day you had someone hooked up in an ambulance driving us around and testing that out. And so, and they not only have, everybody thinks, well, we want to talk to a doctor, but we don't just give them access to a doctor or a nurse. You're going to get access to purchasing and information services and biomed, anybody that you really need to get your device or your tech into a hospital, we give them direct connections to those. And we really know those people. That's what Jenny from Enterprise Ireland said in the dinner after they brought all the companies. They said, you're so different. And I will say they went to some other large, very well-known health systems, and Indiana blew everybody out of the water, just to brag a little bit, humble brag. And they said it's because you had every leader from the hospital in that room, and they talked to us, and they were interested, and they all knew your innovation team. My innovation team is sitting up front. They are amazing, but they all knew us. And that's the personal of it. And that's what Indiana is as a total in an ecosystem. David Watkins said yesterday, we all know each other and we all talk to each other. And I think better yet, we all like each other and we're rowing in the same direction. And that's what makes us different. There is a Midwest niceness to us in all of Indiana. So I know if you want to talk a little bit more about that collaborative effort and really what makes us as Indiana effective.
Yeah, I think you could use the IU Lab initiative as an example. And those of you who don't know about it, go read about it. They're going to build a building at 16 Tech. Should be done August of 2027. But it's an initiative that's aligning Indiana University with Eli Lilly, with IU Health, with Plug and Play. We're actually partnering with Generator. So Plug and Play and Generator are supposed to be competitors, but we're like, no, in this instance, in this ecosystem, let's be collaborators. I think that in itself, like, should we execute it appropriately, at least on paper, it's like you're pulling, like, the state is involved, so you have public-private partnerships happening, but everybody's rowing in that same direction, where, again, it's mission over myself. And I think that's where, if you're a startup in the crowd, I mean, you have people that want to see you succeed and will open every door to see you succeed. And again, I think as Plug and Play, like, we want the 200 other VCs that we work with, we want them to see all of the startups that we're bringing to the state of Indiana. We want our startups that we're bringing to the state to stay in the state. I think we have 5 or 6 startups that have gone through our batches that have said, I'm going to stay in Warsaw, Indiana a little longer. And that's the economic development benefit to what we're doing. And again, we're an emerging market as it pertains to life sciences and MedTech. And I think if this is executed appropriately with partners like Zimmer Biomet, with partners like Indiana University, with partners like Eli Lilly, if we all start doing it, rowing in the same direction and not segmenting things out, then if we do it enough and we keep the repetitions up and we keep the momentum and you have generational knowledge transfer on, like, this is what we're doing, then we will compete with Boston. It's not overnight. It's 10, 15 years down the road. The venture capital dollars will come. Look at all of the talent coming out of these universities. Like, I'm quasi-humble Hoosier. I think Indiana's the best place in the world. And I genuinely believe that. And that's how I sold Plug and Play on coming here. And I think we need to quit being so quiet. Parkview needs to quit being so quiet and talk about all the great things that we're doing. Because when we do that, then you have the kids from Notre Dame, they'll drive the 50 minutes south and start working at Zimmer Biomet in Warsaw. You'll have the kids at Purdue staying at the LEAP district to be at the most advanced pharmaceutical facility in the world, will be the Lilly building there at the LEAP district. And so I think we need to quit being so humble, and we need to tell everybody, this is what we're doing and how we're doing it. And I have a platform of Plug and Play that I'm shouting to everybody, this is the best place in the world, come check it out. And I have 2 of my friends from Silicon Valley who are sitting in the front row here going, like, you know what, this place ain't so bad. Maybe I should stay here a little longer. So if you're a startup or you're someone not from this state, come talk to us. Because I'm telling you, there's people in this front row, there's people all throughout this crowd that wants to see you succeed. And not to their benefit, it's to your benefit.
Yeah. And I will tell you, as far as all of the ESOs in Indiana, we're here and we're talking to each other, and we're not talking to each other. I'm not talking to Brandon about Brandon and Plug and Play or trying to sell Parkview to David Watt. We're talking about entrepreneurs. I said, we know this company, how can we help them? Hey, I have this company here, how can we help them? How can we get them the resources that we need? Those are the conversations we're having even this week with each other. We are all here to support them.
Yeah, which is, again, it's really, really cool. Like, we need more unicorns in the state of Indiana. I think Exact Target was like the last unicorn, that was forever ago, that went into Salesforce. We need more unicorns. Startup unicorns, I don't care about the industry. When that happens, then there's a trickle-down effect from an economic perspective that needs to happen. So if you're a startup or thinking about being a startup, this is a fantastic place to be. You can always get on a plane with one of the most beautiful airports in the world is in Indianapolis. And you can fly to SFO and go chop it up with all the VC folks and fly right on back. Your dollar goes a lot further here in Indiana than it will out there in Cupertino or somewhere in Silicon Valley. And I'm looking at my friends from Silicon Valley saying, like, your dollar doesn't go very far out there.
I specifically hold Zoom meetings sometimes on my back deck in the summer, and they're like, what fancy hotel are you in? And I was like, this is why you live in Indiana. You can afford this in Indiana. So with our last 2 minutes, let's think about the future. What's next?
I don't know. We've been going, and I'll say this humbly, our team has been going nonstop. I was hired in January of 24. We launched our first office in March of 24. We've had 2 batches go through. The third one's going through now in Warsaw, Indiana with Zimmer Biomet, who's just a tremendous, tremendous partner. If you're a startup in the ortho space, the MedTech space, come talk to my team. We can get you in front of Zimmer Biomet because they just want to see disruptive and innovative startups. And so for us, we launched that program. We're going to launch the Indianapolis location in September. There's going to be conjoining circles between those 2 programs that are going to be 2 hours apart. I think we'll pull in a lot of big global corporates into this ecosystem through plug and play in the MedTech and life science industry. Parkview Health is a corporate partner, a more recent corporate partner with plug and play. So round of applause to Parkview. And again, it's about being in the ecosystem. So for us, it's tying what we're doing in MedTech in Warsaw into what we're going to be doing in life sciences in Indianapolis. How do we pull together, BioCrossroads, the CICP, the state of Indiana, Indiana University, and all of the partners. And there's probably partners I haven't even mentioned that will pull together and really be an ecosystem. And not one that's standing on one leg, because contrary to what others may say, this ecosystem is a collective. It's not one company that runs the Indiana ecosystem as it pertains to venture capital and innovation. It is a collective, and we will continue to just play a role in that and be a cog in that. So what are you? What's next for Parkview?
Well, we're always looking for phenomenal startups to work with. We did find a couple in the last batch of plug and play that I know we're really excited about and getting them into the system, into our ecosystem. We did just launch our 5th Global Innovation Competition Series around challenging the cost of healthcare. And my team is going to be in the back. If you want to work with Parkview and be part of that challenge, my team is going to be in the back. After this session, you can get some more information from them. And again, we just want to find great technologies. We want to save patients, especially patients here in Indiana. We're here to save the world. We're here to do it together.
And I know we're out on time. I did want to say one more cool example. Normally, Plug and Play works with corporates and some venture capital firms. You have a group here in the state of Indiana called Launch Fishers that is a tremendous campus on the north side of Indy that they chose to be partners of Plug and Plays. That's not even corporate related. It's like, we want to get into the ecosystem. We want to get this global conversation happening. We want to give our startups more curriculum so they can be better versions of themselves. I think that's the sort of forward-thinking initiatives that the state of Indiana or entities throughout the state are starting to lean into. And so I have to give a shout out to Launch Fishers if they're out there anywhere. It's a cool initiative that we are supporting here more locally to the central Indiana. So everybody, thanks for taking the time to check us out.
Thank you.
Come find any of us.
Yes.
Ethel, thank you so much.
Yes.
Stay with us just for 2 minutes, please. Come back around, because you've piqued our curiosity so much. Can we hear it one more time for 2 superb guests in conversation? I just get the sense, and this is and for many of us, our first visit to Indiana, but it does have a special secret source of community. There really is that camaraderie. What can we learn from it? What makes it tick, Ethel?
I don't know if it's that Midwest niceness. I know just even this panel, they had reached out to Brandon and said, what do you think about talking to this person, Ethel, for the panel?
It's like, Ethel's my friend. I can give me a texter. Like, what do you mean? I think, and again, our team thinks about this, and I know Ethel's team does as well. And I think there's a number of entities that we work with where we're not looking at, hey, let's get a bigger piece of the pie. It's like, let's just make the whole pie bigger.
Yes.
And then we all can be participants in it, and it's way more fun. And again, if we do it through the lens of economic development, then it's like, that's going to be dollars spent here in the state.
It's such a generous lesson to share on that. Brandon, getting startups and corporates to dance together can be challenging. What's something you've learned about how to do that in practice?
Well, I mean, you're right. So corporates tend to move slow, startups move fast. And what we found is, like, I can use Zimmer Biomet as the example. One of the desires to partner with Plug and Play was, I want our team to learn from what startups are doing, like to move quick. And so I think having those conversations, and Zimmer Biomet has done a really good job at, they put individual mentors onto these startups that we have going through the batches to vet them, to learn from them, to bring them into what their R&D initiatives may be. And I think, it would be a better question to ask, Yvonne or Jim Lancaster on like, hey, how is it going? But I think, one, getting them in the same room to have the conversation, and then probably slowing startups down to some capacity on like from an expectation standpoint, but also speeding the corporates up on like get into pilots and get into...
Yeah, and it's on both sides, isn't it? So Ethel, very briefly, if you were giving a pep talk to the corporates as they prepare to engage with some of the region's most engaging startups, what do you say to them in your pep talk?
To the corporates, be open. There are such good ideas about there. There are such good ideas out there, and everybody gets so set in their ways of this is how we do it.
Yes.
You know, listen to those conversations. Really think about, is that the worst idea? You know, what's the worst thing that could happen if we tried that?
Yeah, and what a great sort of just get on with it spirit in that sense. Of embrace that. And then what do you both wish that more people knew about this ecosystem? And are there seats available at the table? Who would you like to join in that sense? Ethel and then Brandon.
Well, there are absolutely seats at the table. And again, we really just want to make a bigger table.
Yes.
And we want more people to come to it. Who would we want to be part of this ecosystem that's not?
I mean, candidly, so we just want to partner with everybody.
Yeah.
Like that's probably the plug and play Indiana motto. Is like, we want to partner with everybody to make this be the best it can be. So the whole purpose of getting plug and play to the state was bridging Silicon Valley to the state of Indiana, where if you're a really smart person, you come up with a great product, you don't have to go move out to the Bay Area to kind of get it done and commercialize. So if you're a VC firm off Sand Hill Road, like just come to Indiana, spend some time here and deploy capital here. So I think there's a venture capital market that needs to come check out the state of Indiana. That's something that I really want to happen. So probably bigger VCs, come on in, the water's nice.
And we have been so struck, and I'm sure fellow guests will agree, by the fierceness of ambition, but also the strength of warmth and community that we've seen here in Indiana. So thank you both for embodying that. Ethel, Brandon, we're massively grateful to you. Thank you both. Great. Well, as Ethel and Brandon